After 6 seasons, how has the series changed your relationship with the Karate Kid franchise? For example, I know that people stopped cursing Yuji, and now Chosen is a popular name among babies. So
that's so true. Isn't that crazy?
Great.
Yeah, when I saw that article, I was just dumbfounded. I said, what the heck? What are people thinking? But I understand now because there's a redemption to Chosen's character, which is what I love about the show, is that everybody has their little things about themselves that they have to figure out.
It was an interesting journey for me coming from those movies into Cobra Kai, certainly in the early seasons of Cobra Kai. The character was kind of servicing the Johnny Lawrence story, so whatever helped us as the viewers understand the difficulty of Johnny, it was always be overcompensated to show how Daniel became this rich guy with bratty kids and was a thorn in Johnny's side. The more flaws, the more times Daniel got to fall down and scrape his knees and his hands, the better for longevity the story would last. So that was a learning curve for me in a good way, because if that wasn't there, then the show would have been over 4 seasons ago for me.
For me, same as Yuji. I mean, my relationship to the movie The Karate Kid, this is, everybody had a taste. The Karate Kid worked because he kicked me with a crane kick, and every kid in every parking lot after that movie was doing it all across the country. So I was the guy, everybody. So I was on the other end of that. I was the guy. They jumped up and cheered when I got kicked in the face. Okay, that was the origins of the whole sequels and everything. So my relationships changed quite a bit in the fact that now, it's decades later, and we get to see Johnny Lawrence and have some empathy for him, and get to see under the hood of, who he is and was and is trying to still become. And you get a lot of guys and a lot of, men that come up and have going to, hey, you encouraged me to reach out to my dad, or, I stopped drinking beer, or, here's my 66-month pin of sobriety, even though Johnny's still having a beer now and then. The influence that Johnny's had on people, and, whatever way, I think it's awesome.
Welcome to the world's greatest karate tournament, the Sekai Taikai!
Tournaments have always been important to Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, but Sekai Taikai is a giant world championship. So were these fights more challenging or difficult in any way?
They're always a challenge. I don't know, man. Each season they're always one up in the last. It's always something new and exciting. Can't get into spoilers, but we have some pretty big fights just about every episode. Xolo can attest to that.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, we do have a fight every episode. I can confirm.
We have gotten very familiar with each other's fighting styles, even your worst enemies within the Valley. I mean, when we meet fans, when we go to conventions, when we do interviews, we get the question of yeah, but how would you stand up against so-and-so? Yeah, but do you really think you could take this person in a fight? And it's it was kind of cool because we got to see what some of those interactions might look like, of how different styles and different personalities presented through fighting would actually hold up against each other.
So this season talks a lot about Mr. Miyagi, right? So I want you to imagine that we live in a better version of our world in which Pat Morita is still with us, and he agrees to participate on Cobra Kai, but only once. At what point in the 6 seasons would you bring Mr. Miyagi in, and why?
Wow,
that's a great question.
I'll take it though. I would take that opportunity.
I like how he's being really difficult and he's not wanting to do more than episode.
My first instinct with that answer, but would discuss it with these guys first, is save that kind of ammunition for the end. That's always been our running philosophy on this show, is try to hold off on some big things and make the show interesting and entertaining. And then when those big things come, it really changes things. Like the very first season of our show, John Kreese wasn't in any of it until the very last 30 seconds. And introducing him in gave a promise for a season 2. And ever since then, that's how we've been building the show.
What are they doing?
And Cobra Kai is ending, and it was full of lessons for your characters and for you as well. So which one will you keep forever?
My character was always kind of, his struggle was learning to be confident with who he is he was so, early in the show, he was so used to being, in the background, not making any noise, kind of laying low and waiting for his turn. And over time, I think he just kind of learned that he can be confident with who he is now. He doesn't have to play the long game. I'm sorry. Something funny?
I just had a funny thought.
I did too.
This final season talks a lot about legacy. So how do you evaluate Cobra Kai's legacy? Because it brought Karate Kid back and there's a new generation that loves this universe. So how do you see your work in these 6 seasons?
What I hope this series shows is that, fandom-driven storytelling is a valuable place to start. There's so much that happens in Hollywood where the right idea ends up in not necessarily the wrong hands, but not the most right hands. We came at this project as super fans who happened to be writers, not writers who were looking for what's the best possibility of selling something. And because we came at it with just pure reverence, we knew what to fight for. We knew where to be flexible. We knew, what was important to the lifelong fans like us, and what we would want to see if we were coming to this franchise and this story without having that perspective from 40 years ago.
And in the future, if a Cobra Kai fan wants to bring the series back, like they did with Karate Kid, which characters do you think that would be the new senseis, like Daniel and Gianni are in the series?
I think it's still going to be Kreese.
I would love to see Tori head a class. I think that would be really, really cool.
I would love to see her have to mentor someone who causes as many problems as she did.
It's kind of like I could just see you being like the more put together Johnny Lawrence.
I like Martin Cove and Khalil. I think that'd be a good
That would be a good setup, yeah.
Did you see Sam being a sensei?
Probably
I
not.
could see her being a little Daniel about it, where she would be like a sensei in the dojo, but also try to like sensei at home and be like trying to instill these life lessons in her kids, and her kids would just be like, no. My own way, and her being like, curses, I did this and I know it went badly.